Good morning, everyone. Good morning to all the participants of this webinar. Welcome to yet another session of the IIC Tripura University activity. Today we have a case study of waste to wealth conversion. It is indeed a very happy moment for all of us at Tripura University because it's the first webinar where the resource person is our student, an alumni of this university, and who is currently a research scholar at the university. So, without wasting any further time, I hand over the stage to our speaker, Ms. Mandakini Gogoi, who's going to talk about waste to wealth conversion, a case study. Over to you, Mandakini.
Thank you, madam, for introducing me. Good morning, everyone. Today, I am going to present a case study on waste to wealth conversion using innovative approach. As we all know, tomorrow is World Environment Day. So, what is required is how do we ensure that environment is kept clean or we minimize the damage getting caused due to the different anthropogenic activities. One such example which you people have heard before is the conversion of large amount of milk processing wastewater into reusable form where it's released into the environment doesn't damage the ecosystem. The wastage of fresh water for non-potable application can be reduced to the major extent, mostly for agriculture. At the same time, the harmful effect of chemical fertilizer can be stopped. So, to do this, what is important is first, selection of waste which has the potential of conversion. Then again, question comes where to convert, in what form it should be converted. Here, we have to select the waste in such a manner which can be useful after conversion. In our case, we have picked up the milk processing wastewater, which was converted into a value-added product, that is ammonia-rich liquid biofertilizer using friendly microbial consortium, which replaces chemical fertilizer and fresh water during cultivation of different economic crops. Here you can see the system where different kind of milk processing wastewater is getting converted to liquid biofertilizer. To understand this process or the functioning of the reactors, different parameters were assessed where you can see the ammonia production took place from the very first day along with nitrate and phosphate reduction. So here we are talking about conversion of all the nitrogenous form present in the wastewater into ammonia, and then the phosphate into polyphosphate and phosphatase, and lipid degraded to a major extent with much smaller amount being present. So now we are thinking that this wastewater is converted to liquid biofertilizer. But is it really working as biofertilizer? To ensure this, we have validated this developed biofertilizer on different economic crops. And conventional biofertilizer has different advantages such as maintaining soil health, solubilizing and mobilizing nutrients in the soil so that the plants get access to these nutrients. There is improvement in texture, structure, and water holding capacity of soil with application of biofertilizer. And no any adverse effects are known on soil fertility and on plant growth till now. And it stimulates plant growth by secreting growth hormones. So it is eco-friendly and it is non-polluting approach. However, it has some disadvantages too. The nutrients released in conventional biofertilizers are pretty slow, which is the reason for its decreased yield and often the reason for high cost, not only for the fertilizers but also mostly of their produce. Commercially available liquid biofertilizer has a COD of around 1300 mg per liter and BOD of around 400 mg per liter, where our corresponding BOD and COD of developed biofertilizer are 127 mg per liter around and around 800 mg per liter for COD respectively, indicating that our biofertilizer is safe for use. These 16 different crops were used for validating the efficacy of developed biofertilizer, and what we find that the biofertilizer grown crops showing increased in yield as compared to chemical fertilizer. In case of Mung Bean, you can see here the fold increase was 1.56 and for black gram it was 1.04 fold. These images showing the one day yield of respective crops from biofertilizer application as compared to chemical fertilizer application, and here you can make out the increased yield per day after biofertilizer application. From the nutritional quality analysis, it was revealed that most of the crops had maintained nutritional quality from both the treatment. However, in some cases, like mung bean, the higher carbohydrate content and protein content were observed in case of biofertilizer application when compared to chemical fertilizer application. All the nutritional components tested were within the WHO daily intake level, which indicates that the produce from biofertilizer application are safe for consumption. Biofertilizer based yield enhancement was also seen in case of maize, where the fold increase was 1.19 fold. Similar result was obtained for field P, where fold increased in yield was 1.16 in case of biofertilizer application, and the carbohydrate content of the P were higher for biofertilizer application, indicating healthier production. Sorghum Sudan grass, which is a fodder crop. Here, the comparison has been done with control and not with chemical fertilizer, because people do not grow fodder with chemical fertilizer. Here again we see a positive impact with increased yield of 2.53 fold in case of sorghum Sudan grass. And what we see here that in absence of biofertilizer, the root length of the crop is much longer as compared to biofertilizer application, and similar result in root length was obtained in case of field P, where biofertilizer grown plant have shorter root, which indicating better access of nutrients within the root zone in this case. One needs to carefully pick up these microbes for this kind of process where they can restrict the nutrients in the root zone. So we select the organism in such a way so that they preferably stay in the root zone, and see our selection is right. It's reflected in shorter roots. Here you can see that 1.39 fold yield increase was found with this biofertilizer application in case of rami fiber crop. The percentage filling of grain was increased 1.14-fold in case of two varieties of scented rice. Those are Kola Joha and Maniki Madhuri Joha. And there was also improvement in grain length upon cooking. In case of aloe vera, we again see a positive impact of biofertilizer application where we achieved 1.63-fold yield enhancement as well as significant increase in viscosity of the gel after biofertilizer application, indicating higher content of polysaccharides upon this application. In case of lemongrass, we see a distinct increase of 2.81-fold in case of biomass and also a significant increase in oil content upon biofertilizer application, indicating higher revenue earning for any farmer who adopts this biofertilizer as compared to chemical fertilizer. This biofertilizer was also tested in tuber crops where we can see that there again an increase in yield in case of Colocasia, sweet potato, cassava, yam and elephant foot yam. In case of elephant foot yam, the fold increase in yield was 3.8. However, the situation is different in case of potato and yam bean, where we see a decrease in production upon biofertilizer application. The conventional biofertilizer shows a 40% decrease in yield in case of potato, but in our case, the reduction was 30.41 and 36.69% for potato and yam bean as compared to the 40% reported.
Mandakini, you are muted. Mandakini, you are
Am I,
muted.
am I
Yeah,
audible?
now you are audible.
So now we were talking about potato and yam bean, where we were able to get an yield enhancement compared to the conventional biofertilizer. One interesting finding during our study was revealed that the carbohydrate content of all the tubers were reduced upon biofertilizer application. Hence, these are diet tubers. The reason behind the decreased carbohydrate content of the tuber was the increased level of nitrogen fertilization, which leads to a higher protein to carbohydrate ratio and thereby decreasing the carbohydrate content of the food. So, these low carb tubers would be beneficial to those people who have gastrointestinal disorders, obesity, as well as diabetes. So we are talking about an one-step process instead of 7 to 8 steps process with 30 times lesser retention time, with 90 times less energy requirement, with no scum generation, a zero discharge technology, with value-added product generation, with agricultural sustenance if operated as per SOP. The carbon dioxide equivalent gas emission also decreases by almost 90% during the operation of this process due to less energy consumption. So, what we have been able to achieve is a process whereby using right kind of microbes in proper ratio in biotreatment plant can convert milk processing plant wastewater into liquid biofertilizer which is suitable for yield enhancement of different economic crops in most of the cases and totally replaces the use of chemical fertilizer and fresh water for agriculture, where agriculture normally uses 89% of the fresh water that we draw every day. So, it is an eco friendly solution for the dairy industry, which can make the dairy effluent treatment plant operation a revenue earning one while protecting the environment, which ensuring the green farming in future. I'd like to thank Microbial Technology Group, and I'd like to thank the people who have helped us in different aspects. Professor L.M. Gantayat, Professor Ashok Ranjan Thakur, Professor Indranil Mukherjee, Dr. Rajiv Nath, Dr. Sudeep Sen, Professor A.K. Saha, Professor B.K. Agarwala, and Dr. Sudarshan. I'm extremely thankful to two dairy farms, Gomti Milk Producers Union Limited and Omfed, who allowed us to test our system at their premises. And I'm thankful to the granting agencies BIREC, DBT, and UGCDA CSL. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mandakini. This is indeed a very lively presentation where you get to know about the basics of how you can, or the basics of how one actually designs a process for getting into applied research, which could sustain environment, which could ensure more availability or a longer availability of non-renewable resources as well as renewable resources which are getting depleted at a very fast rate, and a lucid connection between the scientific basis of developing a solution and how exactly you can reconfirm it through experimental studies, like the easy access of nutrients to the plants, which she pointed out, and also the fact that this is by far the fastest process available for converting the most polluting dairy waste water into a value added product that could be of immense help to the farming community as well as to the dairy farms who would actually start making their dairy effluent treatment a revenue earning proposition. So with this we come to the end of our current session of ICC. Thanks once again to Ms. Mandakini Gogoi, who suggested that she would like to talk about it and give our students, scholars, a flavor of what is doable right from the lab to the land. And with that, we come to the end of the current session. Hope to see you again in our next session, which would be again on certain activity related to innovation, entrepreneurship, environmental sustenance, and so on. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you.